Hi. The two poems that I chose to read for this assignment are Caged Bird by Maya Angelou and Who Said It Was Simple by Audre Lorde. I do just have all my notes here, so that's, if I'm looking down, that'll be why. And I have the poems on my screen, so if I am touching the screen at all, that'll be why. I liked both of these poems because they both talk about freedom and oppression, but in very different ways. Caged Bird, to me, the message is kind of like hope will always win. Hope will always persevere. In one of the lines, she says, "His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing." So to me, that's saying, even though people might be held down or bound by oppression, they still find ways to use their voice to speak about what is going on, find a way to just voice that they want to be free. And then she says, "The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still." So, you see this sense of wanting freedom, wanting to be released from this cage, for his feet to be untied, his wings to not be clipped, even though he doesn't know what it's like. For all we know, the bird could have been held down like this for its entire life. It might not know anything else. It might not even know what freedom means exactly, but it's still hopeful for it. It's still singing for it, singing to be heard, to like sing a song of freedom. The free bird doesn't even see how lucky it is. The free bird doesn't see the caged bird doesn't see the free bird. And it even says here, "A bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage." So I think in a more literal sense that this line is saying, when you are held down or locked away in a sense for your whole life, and that's all you have, that's all you can see, obviously you get upset, you get mad because you want a better life, but you can't see past what you're going through. And the free bird just flies. It doesn't have a second thought about it. It just flies freely, and it says, "Leaps on the back of the wind, dips his wing in the orange sun rays, and dares to claim the sky." And it's such a bright and optimistic way of starting off the piece, and then you go into the bird in his cage, and those lines are all so oppressive, I guess, for lack of a better word. And you really see that they don't know each other. So the free bird doesn't think about it. It's not thinking about the other birds that could be caged or could be oppressed, and the caged bird, is just thinking of how badly it wants to be free. And even further down, the free bird thinks of another breeze, the wind soft on the trees, the worms waiting, and names the sky his own. This bird has this freedom, and because of that, it's not thinking about anything else. All it's thinking about is the next thing. It's thinking about all of the good things that are waiting for it, and it has this power to name the sky its own. Sorry, my poem page just refreshed. That's what that was. Yeah, and a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams, his shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. Like, I for the last assignment too, I also did one of the poems I think was talking about being caged. I really like that metaphor in poetry. I think it works really well, and I especially liked this poem, I think, because of it, because that mental image of being caged, it really speaks to you. You can see it, especially I feel like for myself, like I have a good life. I have, a roof over my head. I am able to go to school. And I have so many good things, but I feel like a lot of the time, like I'm caged, I guess. Like there are things holding me back, and whether it's because I'm a woman or because of financial status or whatever it is, I feel like poetry like this kind of just makes you realize that in comparison, there are people suffering so much worse and you might never even know. I mean, if it wasn't for social media and the way that we are able to have all this knowledge of things happening everywhere all the time, even though it can be very overwhelming, if we didn't have all of that, I might never know about other things going on, and I might think that what I'm going through is the worst thing that anybody's been through, to an extent. So I really like poems like this that kind of make you think about that, and think about your place, and where you are, and who you are, and the privilege you have, even if things go bad, or if, things are hard, and even if you are oppressed in a sense, that there's still, I still have freedom here in other ways. So I really enjoyed this poem. And then, for Who Said It Was Simple, let me just pull it up quickly. This poem, I really liked that the opening of "There are so many roots to the tree of anger," but that sometimes the branches shatter before they bear, because I interpreted this as, anger can come from many places. It takes root in many different places, but sometimes the branches shatter before they bear. Before anything can come of that anger, it just all falls. I feel like it kind of made me wonder too, because the poem is short, but she doesn't bring that up in any other part of the poem. But I liked that imagery a lot. For me, this poem, I kind of got the sense of, why do we fight for the freedom of some but not others? These women here, they're I looked up Netix, was like a restaurant in New York City. So they're sitting at this restaurant, getting together before they go to march for women's rights, and, they're ignoring the fact that this black man is getting passed by, even though he's been there, so that the waiter can come and serve them. Because even though, yes, they're there to fight for their rights as women, they still have more rights as white people than this man does, or more freedom as white people than this man does. And, the ladies neither notice nor reject the slighter pleasures of their slavery. So that's kind of like what I was saying before, where they that sense of, yes, I also lack certain freedoms, but not as much as these other people. And, in that moment, they could have used that, their whiteness, as an advantage there, and they could have said, help, like, pay attention to this man, he's been here, like, get to us after he's been here, and just stand up for him. But and it kind of made me think, even though they said they neither notice nor reject, it makes me think, like, are they ignoring it, or is it ignorance? And is it just, this is the way it is? Sorry. And, I like in this too that Audre Lorde brings herself into it at the end, and she says, "But I, who am bound by my mirror as well as my bed, see causes in color as well as sex, and sit here wondering which me will survive all these liberations." So here she's kind of saying, like, if I'm black and a woman, which, if any of these movements will fight for all of who I am at one time? Who's gonna, like, yes, like, people fight for the part of me that's black, and people fight for the part of me as a woman, but who's going to fight for all of me all at once? Which me is going to be free? The me who's a woman, or the me who's black? And, it kind of brings to the question, like, why can't it be all of it? Why can't we fight for everyone all at once? And in general, why can't there just be freedom for everyone all at once? Because, it's been however many years since the civil rights movement, not enough, and we're still fighting for these rights. It's been how many years since women were liberated, and we're still fighting for our rights. So I feel like what I really got from these poems, like Caged Bird, for me, it was just that hope is one of the most powerful things. It keeps people alive when they have nothing else. To me, it's beautiful, because despite all the pain, all the grief, all the hardship that people endure, they still believe in a goodness, because to me that's what hope is. It's believing in a goodness that will come, whether it's in people, whether it's in ideas or in things. Hope is a belief in goodness, and I just think that it's one of the most powerful things in the world, and it's so beautiful to me that no matter what people are going through, they still find that to hold on to. And then it just made me a bit introspective, that reminding me that even when I struggle, there are freedom and privileges I have that others don't, and I shouldn't take that for granted. And for who said it was simple, it just kind of made me think, like, how often has that happened, or how often does it happen where there's a group fighting for, or people fighting for one group's rights and freedoms, but others are left out or left behind from that. Like, when we're fighting for women, are we fighting for all women equally, or are we fighting for white women more than women of color? And kind of, like, what is the discrepancy there? And that same thing I said before, like, how can we just fight for everyone? So for the comparison, I just said the theme was freedom and oppression. So I said Caged Bird uses the metaphor of one bird flying and the other one caged, whereas Who Said uses a real life example or observation to point out kind of the same thing, but going even further into that and showing that oppression still happens even within freedom movements. and Maya Angelou's is more, it's hopeful. It it gives an air of resilience with the caged bird, who, even though its wings are clipped and feet are tied, it still sings, um, despite all of its limitations. And whereas Lorde shows frustration and doubt in wondering, you know, who's gonna fight for all these different parts of her, um, or if she'll be stuck in between, black and woman forever. And to me, I think Maya Angelou's is more relatable on a more general scale. Anybody can be the caged bird. There's no specificity in that, whereas Lorde's is more specific, but I think still relatable, just in a kind of different way, where it makes you think, like I was saying before. I think both poems are still so relevant today. Like I said, we're still fighting for all of these things for women, for people. Every day, people are marching, are taking to the streets, are going on social media, are doing all these different things to fight for their right to be seen as fully equal, or even just as human. Women, people of color, all these different people are still marching for these rights today. Lorde shows us also that, now we have the word intersectionality, but that people were thinking about that concept, about intersectionality within these different movements, even back then, just without having that word for it. And I think that these poems just kind of remind you that it's been a long time and it can get exhausting, and I think especially now with everything going on, every day there's a new thing, that it can feel kind of hopeless sometimes and bleak. But this reminds you that freedom is still worth fighting for. I'm sorry that this video went kind of long. I just had a lot to say, so thank you for listening.